Are you a fan of wildlife documentaries and the daring adventurers who bring us up close and personal with nature's most ferocious creatures? If so, then you've likely heard of Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter. But did you know that his life was tragically cut short in a horrifying incident that shocked the world? In today's video, we'll take a closer look at the last moments of this beloved wildlife expert, exploring the circumstances that led to his untimely demise and examining the legacy he left behind. So, if you're ready to learn more about one of the most unforgettable figures in the world of wildlife, then let's dive in. Steve Irwin, also known as the crocodile hunter, was famous for his love and passion for wildlife conservation. Born in 1962 in Victoria, Australia, Irwin was raised by his parents, who were both wildlife enthusiasts and ran a small zoo in Queensland. Irwin's love for animals began at a young age, and he spent much of his childhood exploring the Australian bush and learning about the creatures that lived there. In 1991, he took over the management of his family's zoo and began to develop his unique approach to wildlife education and conservation. Irwin's fame really began to skyrocket with the debut of his television series, The Crocodile Hunter, in 1996. The show followed Irwin as he explored some of the most dangerous and exotic locations on the planet, encountering all manner of creatures along the way. With his boundless enthusiasm and infectious energy, Irwin quickly became a hit with audiences around the globe. One of Irwin's signature moves was his willingness to get up close and personal with even the most fearsome creatures. He was known for his daring and often dangerous interactions with crocodiles, snakes, and other deadly animals, which he could capture on film for his show. These thrilling encounters captured the attention of viewers who were fascinated by Irwin's fearless approach to wildlife. But Irwin was more than just an entertainer. He was a passionate advocate for wildlife conservation, dedicating his life to raising awareness of the importance of protecting endangered species and preserving natural habitats. He founded the Steve Irwin Conservation Foundation in 2004, which focuses on conservation efforts around the world, particularly in Australia and Southeast Asia. Irwin's fame and influence extended far beyond his television show and conservation work. He was also an accomplished author, with several best-selling books to his name, and a respected speaker, who gave talks on wildlife conservation to audiences around the globe. His enthusiastic personality and unique approach to wildlife education and conservation made him a beloved figure to millions of fans around the world. However, it was September 4, 2006, when the world was rocked by the shocking news of Steve Irwin's death. The beloved wildlife expert, known to millions as the crocodile hunter, had been killed in a freak accident while filming a documentary on the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. But what actually happened to Steve Irwin, and how did his passion for wildlife photography kill him? Steve Irwin's death came as a shock to millions of fans around the world, who had grown to love his infectious energy and passion for wildlife. News of the tragedy spread quickly, and tributes poured in from people of all ages and walks of life. Many were left wondering how such a seasoned and experienced adventurer could have met such a sudden and tragic end. The details of Irwin's death only added to the sense of shock and disbelief. It was later revealed that the stingray responsible for Irwin's death was a bull ray, which is known to be relatively harmless and not typically aggressive towards humans. Experts speculated that the stingray may have felt threatened or cornered by Irwin's presence, leading it to defend itself with its barbed tail. The barb, which is located near the stingray's tail, is sharp and coated in a venomous toxin. When the stingray thrust its tail towards Irwin, the barb pierced his chest, causing a fatal injury. The tragedy of Irwin's death was compounded by the fact that he had always been a staunch advocate for the conservation of wildlife and the protection of endangered species. His work inspired countless people around the world to care more deeply about the natural world and to take action to preserve it. Irwin had made a name for himself as one of the most daring adventurers in the world of wildlife. With his infectious energy and boundless enthusiasm, he had captured the hearts of audiences around the globe, taking them on wild and thrilling journeys through some of the most dangerous and exotic locations on the planet. But on that fateful day, the tables were turned. It was Irwin who found himself in danger, facing off against a creature that had always been his greatest love and his greatest fear, a massive stingray. Irwin had been filming an underwater documentary when he spotted the stingray in the distance. Excited by the opportunity to capture footage of this elusive creature up close, he quickly swam over to it, camera in hand. As he approached, the stingray suddenly turned and struck out at him with its barbed tail. The barb pierced Irwin's chest, delivering a fatal blow. The sudden attack was a shock to everyone on the boat, including Irwin's cameraman, Lyons. In an interview, Lyons recounted the moment he saw the stingray strike Irwin, saying, "It just propped on its front and started stabbing wildly with its tail, hundreds of strikes in a few seconds." Lyons immediately swam to Irwin and saw the barb still lodged in his chest. He knew it was a serious and life-threatening injury, and he quickly pulled Irwin back to the surface of the water. Lyons and the crew attempted to administer first aid to Irwin when they rushed back to shore, but it quickly became apparent that his injuries were too severe. Despite their best efforts, Irwin passed away before they could reach medical help. The exact cause of Irwin's death was officially listed as traumatic cardiac arrest, which occurs when the heart suddenly stops due to trauma. In Irwin's case, the barb from the stingray had punctured his heart, leading to his untimely death. Steve Irwin's untimely death sent shockwaves around the world, and the outpouring of grief and support was immense. Fans, colleagues, and friends were devastated by the loss of this remarkable man who had brought so much joy and excitement into their lives. For many, Steve Irwin was more than just a television personality or wildlife expert. He was a larger-than-life figure who embodied a passion and enthusiasm for nature that was infectious. Irwin's love for animals was evident in everything he did, from his daring encounters with crocodiles and other dangerous creatures to his tireless efforts to protect wildlife habitats around the world. His fearlessness and adventurous spirit inspired countless people to pursue their own dreams and passions, to take risks and live life to the fullest. He was a role model and a hero to many, and his death left a deep void in the hearts of those who knew and loved him. The loss of Steve Irwin was particularly difficult for the wildlife conservation community. Irwin had been a vocal advocate for protecting endangered species and raising awareness about the importance of preserving natural habitats. He had dedicated his life to this cause, and his influence had been felt around the world. In the wake of his death, many organizations and individuals redoubled their efforts to carry on his work and honor his legacy. The Steve Irwin Wildlife Reserve was established in his memory, and the Australia Zoo, which Irwin had owned and operated, continued to thrive under the leadership of his family. But Irwin's legacy lives on, not just in the countless hours of footage he left behind, but in the lasting impact he had on the world of wildlife conservation. Through his work, he raised awareness of the importance of protecting endangered species and preserving the natural world for future generations. Despite the tragedy of his untimely death, Irwin's spirit lives on, a testament to the power of passion, dedication, and a love for the natural world. Thank you for watching this tribute to Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter. We hope that you have learned more about his life and legacy as a passionate conservationist and wildlife enthusiast. Although his death was a tragic event, his fearless approach to handling dangerous animals and his infectious enthusiasm for wildlife will always be remembered. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more content about wildlife and conservation, please hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our future uploads. Remember, it's up to all of us to protect and preserve the natural world. Let's continue to honor Steve Irwin's legacy by taking action to protect the planet and its inhabitants.